Programming languages. Parameter passing. Parameter definitions. So there are two parameter definitions. We have formal parameters and actual parameters. Formal parameters are the parameters defined by the function, and the actual parameters are the variables that get passed to the function. As we can see here, parameter names that appear in the declaration of a subroutine, actual parameter, variables, or expressions passed to the subroutine. Parameter passing. Now there are different types of parameter passing. We have pass by value, where the value of the actual parameter is used to initialize the formal parameter. So we pass a variable in, such as x, and let's suppose x equals 5. So we make a copy of x, and we pass that in. This means the subroutine's using a copy and not the actual value. So if there is a change made to that variable inside the subroutine, it will not change the value of x in the main method, or in the method that calls the subroutine. Pass by reference. Pass by reference is the opposite of pass by value. Instead of sending a copy, it sends the address to the subroutine. This means that if there is a change made to the variable in the subroutine, the value of that parameter, that value, variable, can and will be changed. So same example, x equals 5, we pass x in. Now in the subroutine, let's say they add 1 to x and they print it. Now if we print x in the main method, it's now going to print 6 as it did in the subroutine, as opposed to printing 5 like it would if it did pass by value. Now we have pass by value / result. Now this combines two passes. So what this does is it makes a copy of the actual parameter, and it returns, and if there's some change made to that copy, it will return that result. So at the beginning of the procedure, the actual argument's value is copied into the former parameter. At the end of the procedure, the final value of the formal parameter is copied back to the actual argument. So just like pass by reference, the actual parameter is again changed. Now, the pros and cons of each one are here in this table. Pass by value is safe. We can't accidentally change the value of the actual parameter. It's predictable. We know what's going to happen. We know the actual parameter won't change in the main method, and we know it will only happen in the subroutine. And it's simple to debug because of that. It's predictable and safe. We know what's going to happen. The cons is slow. We have to make a copy of that parameter, of the actual parameter, into the subroutine. So now let's suppose we have a very large array and we pass it into a subroutine. Now we have to copy the entire array to pass it in. Unless it is C. C, for languages like C, what they do is it's a whole pointer. So when you actually pass an array into a subroutine, it is a pass by reference automatically. And another con, it's no way to modify the actual parameter. I didn't mean to, there's a misspelling. So unless there's no way of doing it, the only way we can get a result is by returning a value, and it won't be the actual parameter that gets changed. It'll be some other variable that gets changed. Pass by reference. Now, pass by reference is efficient. We don't have to copy a variable's value. We can just go, we know where it is in the address, and we change it right from there. We can modify the actual parameter, like I was saying, and it's useful for output parameters. So if you don't have to have a bunch of return statements. As a matter of fact, you can't return a bunch of items. You can only return one unless you return an array, right? For this case, we don't have to return anything because the value's already changed within the subroutine, and because we passed in by reference, we already have the value, the desired value, right? The cons are it's risky. We might accidentally change a variable we didn't want to change, and the source value is no longer present. It's gone. And it's harder to reason the behavior because we might accidentally change a value. We might not know what's going on anymore because we might be dealing with a big system, and it can get messy really fast. It's a bit harder to debug. Now, pass by value and result, it has all the advantages and disadvantages of value, pass by value, but it allows the result to be returned via parameters. So we no longer need a bunch of return statement. We don't need a return statement anymore. Just like reference, we can return the actual parameters because they are now changed. However, just like pass by value, it's inefficient, and it has unintuitive side effects. And that is parameter passing. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.